Welcome to the Barker Podcast Collection.
Welcome to the Not Watching Podcast. My name's Rob Howard, and today I'm joined by
Marcus Hurley.
Now let's talk about some TV that we've particularly enjoyed so far this year. I'm going to get the ball rolling on this one with Altered Carbon, which is by a country mile the best thing I've seen on TV all year.
I'd forgotten about that. Yeah, that's going to be mine as well. How did I forget about that? That's ridiculous.
I mean, I could be forgiven for forgetting about it simply because it came out and I watched it all literally within about 24 hours of it coming out. But I don't often do that. I mean, to be fair, I was a bit hungover, but I still don't often do that with anything.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I just loved it. I thought it was a massive mashup of all the things I love about sci-fi. Had it's got a weird premise where you basically have a stack that your consciousness lives in, and if you get killed, that can be transferred to another host body.
Yeah.
What they called sleeves.
That was it. Yeah.
And it's like they just don't hold back with any of the violence or the nudity or anything. It's just like a proper rip-roaring fantasy sci-fi adventure with its head literally in the clouds.
Yep.
And
the plot in some cases.
Yeah. There's been word of a second season, although I think they're going to recast the lead because they can.
Yeah.
And I think he's doing other things as well.
Well, once you see the story, it almost makes sense because, the way it ends at the end, and you kind of think, okay, it would make sense.
Yeah. But I think even if there wasn't, if there's never another season, that still stands alone to me as like one of the best single series of TV I've ever seen, because it's got all of the depth and character development that you want, but it's also self-contained enough that it works standalone.
Yeah.
But you could still make more out of it. I think the thing is there was 3 books and they pinch a bit out of the other books to put in this. I think certainly one of the characters that you meet sort of later on, there's quite a lot of history between the main character and her.
Yeah.
And they can definitely, I think some of that's like they jump right ahead for that, but they could go back easily because the whole thing is it's like, they do a lot of time hopping in the show anyway.
Yeah. So I thought it was handled really well. Normally, I kind of get a bit bored of that because every series seems to be doing that, where you get the backstory panning alongside the now, and sometimes it just convolutes itself and doesn't offer anything, whereas this kind of really built up enough that you knew why things mattered to people and why this was such a big deal when it got to the end.
It's also a film I think that a show I think that would benefit from watching a second time because you don't realise who people are actually talking to until much later, because there's like big old twists where people are like sleeving themselves into other people. And I mean, I remember, I think I said it on here before, but I sort of caught an episode that my housemate at the time was watching, and I was like, oh, I know who that is now. But I didn't tell him, obviously. But it gave that scene like a completely different context. So
you start looking for subtleties in conversation and kind of going, which you don't pick up on straight away.
Yeah, that's it. And that's it gives it sort of a Fight Club quality, which is another thing that I really love. So,
and for me, also because it deals with the concept of what it means to be essentially immortal with the rich people. And by emphasising that point by chucking in the Highlander sword, which I thought was a nice little Easter egg.
Oh, yeah.
But I just thought that's got to be a choice, isn't it? It's a little directorial choice, a little Easter egg there.
Oh, for sure. Cool. Have you got anything else then for TV?
To be honest, I've just been I've just watched the 3rd season of You, Me, Her. That was on Netflix. I don't know if that's the end of it, but it kind of seemingly wrapped up the story, finally. Man, that took so many twists and turns. I don't know how I feel about the characters now by the end of it all, because some of them just come across as... Whereas before it was kooky, weird, and almost a bit like the Santa Clarita Diet, where you're with them and you're kind of cringing with them and on their side, to the point where some of them are just complete arseholes, and you're like, I don't know how I feel about this, just get on with it.
Yeah.
So
no, that's... Yeah, you've really stuck with that one.
Yeah, well,
I haven't watched any of it yet.
Yeah, we left it, and then we kind of got the second series and watched that, and then we saw that the third series dropped on Netflix, so we just sort of watched all of that. It's sort of weirdly, we kind of picked these shows for like dinner time viewing, so we get through a few episodes like most evenings.
Yeah,
probably about, and plus I think it's quite short as well. I don't know.
Yeah,
I think it might be about a half-hour episode or something crazy like that. But yeah, so just that, and I've also been watching something that you probably won't touch with a barge pole, Class, which is a Netflix series, and a Doctor Who spin-off, which I did not know existed.
Oh right, okay.
Very much
how is that?
Yeah, it's on Netflix.
How is that a spin-off then?
Well, Peter Capaldi turns up in the first episode as the Doctor, and it's set in the school that his companion Clara Oswald, actually Matt Smith's companion really, and hers, is the school that she taught at, the academy.
Oh,
so her and Mr. Pink, they all in it, and in the first episode, there's like a plaque of missing and memorandum sort of thing, and their names are on there as well as others.
Oh, okay.
But looking into this, apparently this school keeps popping up in Doctor Who, because when I got into it, there was an episode that kind of really kept me watching Doctor Who called Remembrance of the Daleks, and this was back in the 80s when the Seventh Doctor was there. And it was the first time you see Daleks go upstairs, because up until that point, that was how you beat a Dalek. You just go up the stairs and it's screwed. And it literally starts hovering and going up the stairs, and the Doctor looks back and he swears in Gallifreyan. Basically just a shit or something. Oh, fuck.
Oh, okay.
And apparently that was meant to be this school, but in 1963 or something like that, they go back to. So it keeps popping up, and it's supposed to be, I think it's in the first or second ever episode as well as of Doctor Who. So this is called Coal Hill, Coal, and it's supposed to be set in Shoreditch area.
Okay.
But in some cases it's filmed in a school in Hammersmith, location shoots. But yeah, it's basically Doctor Who, but a bit more violent. People go crunch, blood gets splattered, because it's cable, Netflix sort of thing. It's got a little bit more license. People actually get properly horribly crunched. And
wasn't it on the BBC originally, though?
I don't think it was, but it's got the BBC tag on it. So when you see the tile on
it's
Netflix...
got to be on BBC originally.
It can't have been. Maybe on BBC Three? I don't know. I don't really... It doesn't say that it had BBC Three on it, because normally when it's a show that was on a channel, you see the channel logo. This would never have been on BBC Two or terrestrial.
Oh, okay.
The first couple of episodes are way too kind of violent, and you've got one of them. You got like, it's basically just almost like how Torchwood was. You got one of them's in a homosexual relationship. You get like a mild sex scene. One of them's a ex-guardian sort of general, and she's so deadpan but uber violent. Basically, her family better themselves by killing each other off when they're young until the strongest survives. But I thought that if Sheridan Smith, if she hadn't been picked for the Doctor, this person would have made a really good Doctor, because she's so cynical. It's almost like take Peter Capaldi and make him female and grumpy as fuck, but also trying to hold back being violent. But also not giving a fuck about people, kind of thing. So it's quite funny. But yeah, I'm kind of enjoying it. It's a bit Doctor Who cheesy a lot of the time.
I was going to say, you rate this like...
No, I don't rate it, but it's just something that I've been watching. But it just tickled my fancy, because I'm just like, I don't think I've ever seen Doctor Who with blood. So it's kind of like piquing my interest. I don't really rate it, but it's intriguing if you're a fan of Doctor Who.
Okay, well, it says it was released on BBC Three between 27th of October and 3rd of December 2016.
Oh, blimey.
And it got cancelled due to poor viewership figures.
Yeah, well, it's BBC Three, innit? They cancelled the whole channel, so...
They put it... put it on BBC One, I think, to give it a second airing.
Oh, blimey.
But nobody watched it.
Yeah,
so
fair enough.
They must have put it on
I
late
guess
or
it'll
something.
be short.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, that's pretty much the only thing I've kind of been watching, because everything else... Oh, apart from the Series 4 of The Strain, I've been watching that as well. I haven't finished all of that. That's been good fun, you're right. I'm glad I got back into that.
Yeah, I mean, I was asking more in the context of shows you've seen this year that you really rate, like we have with the films.
I don't really know. There's been no Game of Thrones, so I don't really know. Apart from Altered Carbon, I can't really think of anything I've watched that's been big budget. I'm sure I'm probably missing loads, but...
Yeah, I mean, well, if you don't remember it, it couldn't have been that good.
No, exactly. I think it's just been the year of catching up on shows. That's it.
I mean, it's not been great, to be honest with you. I mean, I go out of my way to watch new stuff all the time, because of this podcast mostly. But because, basically, I just, I'm always seeking out, I want to find out the new stuff, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, so, I mean, I've got a list here, but I won't labour through it all. But no, I honestly, though, I don't think it's been great for TV this year at all. Even the stuff that I'm going to mention now is pretty obscure, and I don't think a lot of people have watched. So I'll mention. I won't go on, but Inside Number 9, I think is amazing, and I will continue to harp on at people to watch, because it's just an incredible little anthology show that you can pick up at any point. That none of them have any relation to one another. Like, you can watch them, they're like little short stories. So that's pretty cool. And another one that I'll mention today, especially today, because today saw the launch of the new YouTube Premium service. And on that service is a show called Cobra Kai, which I've only seen the first 2 episodes of, but I've heard, I have it on good authority that it's worth watching all of. But I was loath to basically buy the episodes off YouTube, because that's the only way you could get them. But today, or last night, they launched YouTube Premium, which is it basically what they've done is they've Trojan horsed it in with their YouTube music service, which basically works pretty much like Spotify. However, because it's YouTube, it already knows what you like, because I don't know if you've ever watched a YouTube video of a band that you like.
Yeah.
But YouTube will know that, and it will remember. So you go into it.
Your recommended sort of homepage always adapts to what you've last been kind of looking at.
Yeah, absolutely. So you launch it, and it already knows what you like. So straight away, I put it on today, and I just put on like recommended thing, and it was playing all the music I like. And even if they haven't got the music you like, it will just play the videos off it. So like Tool, are notorious for being like anti-digital. You can't get any of their stuff on any digital platform at all, except YouTube. So I was listening to Tool at work today.
Nice.
Which I've never been able to do. Well, I've been able to do it on YouTube with ads. Yeah. But what YouTube Premium does is it removes all the ads. So it's amazing. It's like, as far as I'm concerned, it's the next great evolution of the internet. I'm so happy about this. As soon as I figured out, that basically it wasn't going to cost me another £12 a month, because I'm already paying £10 a month for Spotify. So really all I'm doing is paying £2 a month to get rid of the ads on YouTube. So I've ditched off Spotify basically, and I'm going to have this instead. So, and the other selling point, of course, was the fact that I really wanted to watch the rest of Cobra Kai. Yeah. To be fair, it's the only bit of original programming on YouTube that is for me or you, really. I don't know. A lot of their original content is kind of off the back of a lot of like streamers and stuff like that.
I like the old Street Fighter one. There was a Street Fighter one called... actually, funny enough, it got made into a movie that was on Netflix called Assassin's Fist or something, which was like a prequel. And that was originally a group of streamers stroke arcade people and backed by Machinima, and that was on YouTube initially as a 6-part, and then that got put together and then chucked on Netflix as well, and I was like, wow. But yeah, you're right, a lot of it is just streaming stuff that either gets big enough to get noticed or...
Yeah, I think they're just trying to kind of find their way into the original content game, because everyone seems to be at it now. You know, Amazon got on board. Yeah. Apple were doing it. You know, I think Sky are doing it. I mean, basically the only way you're going to get people to pay for a subscription is if you're supplying original content. And to be honest, YouTube have got that kind of added bonus of like having a lot of people using it already, but it's taken them a long time, I think, for them to get people's heads around the idea of paying for YouTube, because it's always been free. But honestly, just today, I mean, I wish this had happened before E3, because honestly, it's such a slick experience not having the ads, because you get so used to YouTube, and you think of it as a secondary thing, you know, like almost like TV, because you're but because you've got those fucking ads, and one of them I put on that came up between two things I was watching the other day, and it was 15-minute long ad with bloody Peter Dinklage in advertising some bullshit, and I was like, 15 minutes, what am I even watching? So yeah, it just basically eliminates all of that stuff. So it makes YouTube actually more like a seamless content delivery system for whatever.
Crazy.
So who needs Spotify now when I've got every bit of music ever made in any form ever available without ads, like streaming into my eye holes or ear holes?
Plus video content. So the official music videos and all that, if you've forgotten, go back watching that variant, which Spotify will never be able to do.
Yeah, like today I got in actually, and I just put on latest. If you go to the music tab on YouTube, it's got like it'll come up with like different playlists. So I just put on it was like the hottest tunes at the moment. I thought, well, I'm going to hate all this, but I'll put it on. And it was like a load of Beyonce bollocks. But I just love the idea of just having like
I want to mix.
hear, yeah, exactly. And it's got other channels that are probably a bit more my cup of tea, like based on Tool or stuff, but you know, or whatever I was listening to.
Yeah.
And I just like the idea of having like being able to have friends around and just like literally just chuck that on, and it's just like going to fill the
you're going to be in your own music video with like something on the big screen in the background whilst you're mingling, and all your mates are like, just living a life.
Yeah, well, it's nice to have a bit of music on, I think, and
definitely.
You know, I sometimes if I'm just dicking around, like whatever, editing this, you know, I just love the idea of just being able to have that, but also have like just the video in like HD playing. You know, it's like, it's awesome. I feel like this, honestly, a lot of people, I stuck it on Facebook and a few people liked it. But for me, this is the next step, I think, in entertainment.
I've only just started getting used to the whole, because I've started using YouTube through the TV, whereas before I used to, like with my PC rigged up to it. So the PC's got ad blockers and stuff on there, which curtailed that from YouTube. So my YouTube experience was always, you know, sans ads, which was pretty cool. But from my PC to the TV isn't as good as like the full TV app. So I've kind of gone back and gone, okay, I've gotten used to these again now. But yeah, it kind of sounds like a good idea. Although I'm thinking of possibly, I don't know, I'm trying to reduce subscriptions and stuff, because I'm thinking of taking out a Now TV one, because I saw an advert on the way to work where they've now got all 7 seasons of Game of Thrones, and now I'm thinking it'd be a good idea to start at the beginning and watch all of it.
I've just naffed it off. I've literally just cancelled it because they charged me £8, and I've been paying $3.50 a month for it for the last year, because every time I cancelled it, they offered me that option, so I've done it.
Blimey.
And I just thought, right, okay, it's the last episode of Westworld next week, and there's a few other things I wouldn't mind looking at. Atlanta, and something else I can't even remember, so who cares? But yeah,
you just come back to them as and when.
Yeah, and it just annoys me because it's really low quality compared to everything else.
I mean, that's one thing that shocked me when I first started using it, how long it takes to spool up. It's like, and then when it does get going, it's like, okay, this is all right. This is like
the best
podcast.
it's going to get is 1080. Like, I mean, I just watching an episode of Arrested Development, 4K Dolby Vision, and that's just like a sitcom. You know, it just won't wash anymore. It really. That's one of the things that has annoyed me about this season of Westworld. Could get onto that, I suppose, but is that it's just the quality of it is just not. I mean, you see these amazing vistas, and it's just like there's sitcoms that look better than that on the quality. It's just annoying. But sorry, no, I won't divert into Westworld because I did want to quickly mention what Cobra Kai is about because I haven't mentioned it on this show yet. It's basically it's a follow up to the original Karate Kid film. And we see Johnny and Danny all grown up. But what's interesting about this... have you seen this at all yet?
I've started the first episode, but I haven't actually watched all of it. I need to go back to it. Because sweep the leg is one of my favourite phrases ever. Yeah.
Apparently he's had that his whole life. He's had to deal with people telling him that. But anyway, what's interesting about this is it sort of... at least initially takes place from Johnny's perspective. Who's kind of like fell on hard times. He was the school bully who got beaten by Danny. Yeah. And, so he's just like a handyman guy, still listening to 80s tunes, living in the past a bit. And it casts Danny as a bit of a dick, whose life's not great. And so, so it's not as cut and dry as you think it might be.
Is it like there's an episode of How I Met Your Mother where Barney, what's his name? The guy who's Dr. Horrible singing along the blog.
I've only caught it in passing.
I know, but it's the guy, I can't remember his name, comedian, actor. But anyway, he basically says the true story of the Karate Kid is about a guy studying at a dojo and he gets bullied by an Italian kid who takes away his fame and glory.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering whether that was the premise that made them think, you know what, that's got legs.
It might have been a starting point, but it doesn't go quite that far. I mean, this is more about Johnny starts the Cobra Kai dojo up again. Danny gets a bit sort of on the defensive about this and starts training a kid himself.
Oh, wow.
And so they're kind of in the Miyagi role a bit, each of them, but in their perspective, from their perspective directions. There's two very different. It's more about. I think what they're really going on is that there was different interpretations of how karate works or how to learn it, like the different philosophies.
Yeah.
So it's like two sides of a coin, and that's what interested me about it. Apart from it being very referential to those old films.
I remember the opening was just shot for shot the old film, and I was like, with a slight edit.
Well, it's the footage. It's the footage from the.
I was sold at that point, so I'm desperate to watch this. I'm literally chomping at a bit. So
well, look, I sound like I'm doing the sales pitch here, but you can get 3 months of Spotify of YouTube Premium for free.
I'm literally signing up after this podcast.
Yeah, and it will tell you when you're going to get billed, so you can remind yourself not to cancel it in time. But it's worth doing the 3 months, if only just to watch Cobra Kai. So I feel like this is a watershed moment here, and this could really, and it's been greenlit for a second series as well. Sorry, I'm getting
awesome.
Sorry, my mind is slightly exploding with the fact that I can watch all of Cobra Kai now, and I've got no ads on YouTube. So that's just a really big deal, more than I thought it would be. But I'm well happy. Like you carried on with You, Me, Her. I finished the final season of Love. And so I'd like to just give that a mention one more time before, before it gets kicked out later in the year by other things.
Well, that's the thing. It's just all the things that I was watching that I was impressed with, like Star Trek, The Punisher. They're all last year.
Yeah, that's the thing. Well, Star Trek kind of went across, didn't it? It kind of, but we did talk about that at the end of last year. We rated that. That was well rated up highly. But no, I honestly don't blame you, Marcus. If there's nothing in your list that actually came out this year.
I mean,
because there's not been a lot.
Jessica Jones season 2, we've talked about that. I wouldn't. It felt like a continuation. It's in the. I'm just watching this because I know the characters.
Yeah.
I was expecting good things, but obviously it wasn't ready to provide them. But
yeah.
So I don't know. I don't think I've got anything that to be honest, I was actually enjoying watching the end of season bloody 13 of Supernatural more than most of these.
Well, exactly. I mean, if that's the if that's the scale we're at, but I know you really love that show. You know,
I know, but I probably still,
I
can appreciate how 13 years of it, you must be going, what in the name of God is going on?
Maybe I should just watch that and nothing else.
No, it'll do your head in. You'll do your nut in.
Yeah,
up to the end of series 5, which was the official canon. Yeah, I would say the first 5 seasons. That was is it Kripke or McGee or someone like that? When the original guy was involved, that was supposed to be the end of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're probably good up to then because the characters are quite fun, and the way it goes is quite fun. And up until that point, it's all quite knit and horrible and brutal and fun and nice.
Yeah. But
I don't know.
I mean, as far as like stuff that I'm watching like week to week, you know, we just mentioned Westworld there. I've been watching it. It's had a few decent episodes, but really it's not blowing me away like the first season did. And Handmaid's Tale, which is very well made, but and there was something on Facebook. They published something in the Guardian on the Telegraph this week, and someone shared it on Facebook and was like, "Yeah, I'm kind of a bit sick of it as well." Because, I mean, are you watching it?
No,
right.
I've heard it's basically if someone took a sponge and took all the fun away.
Yeah, it's quite you know the setup basically where in the future all the infertile women or all the fertile women have been enslaved basically,
and just
there's
treated as objects.
There's this whole weird like religious order called Gilead that they're kind of enslaved by, and like basically like at the end of the first season, spoiler for the first season of Handmaid's Tale that came out ages ago, she sort of, it looks like she's going to escape. And like the second season, like she's kind of on the run and like gets the 4th episode, she gets captured again. And it's like, fuck. And she's pregnant at this point. So it's just
business as usual.
It's just a series of unfortunate events that just become more and more unfortunate to the point of it not even being enjoyable. It's just so horrible.
Yeah.
So, and it feels like, and this is similar to Westworld, yeah. It's a premise of a movie that was made into a movie years ago that was spread into one season of television, and then because that season of television was well regarded, it has now gone on beyond that, which was originally envisioned, and they've kind of been running with the ball, you know. Yeah. And it's sort of like, you know, be careful what you wish for, because honestly, I feel like neither of these shows really are worth watching right now.
Well, I got a bit annoyed when before series 2 of Westworld came out, where people were saying they were trying to stop people spoiling it by spoiling it themselves.
Yeah, well, I don't know any of that.
I was a bit like, what? And then I saw that first episode, and then the end of the first episode, and then what Bernard says that he's done. And I was a bit like, is it all just leading up to that? Because that's going to be crap and annoying. I don't want to know where it's going. I know it might distract you with shiny stuff in between, but I don't want to know. I know the first one, where it should be leading to, the revolution. But now they've got a chance to run with it and go somewhere completely different.
Well, they have, to be fair.
Yeah, but I'm hoping they've done a Deadpool and it's not just an arc. It's like that it goes beyond it. I don't want to...
Are you up with Westworld?
I stopped just after Samurai World, sort of when they came back, and then I think an episode or 2 after that. So when they found I don't know, spoilers, they found the other ones of he who said doesn't look like much to me. and it kind of kicks off from there. So I think I'm episode 7, 6. I think I stopped at 6.
Yeah, so, I don't know if it's clear what the sort of overall thing they're trying to do.
He's teamed up with the woman who was supposed to have been dead. Bernard.
Yeah, I know.
And they're going around.
Elsie.
Elsie, yeah. And they're going around. So it's just, I think, an episode of that in. So I think I'm on episode 7 now, maybe, or something like that. But I'm just like, I'm enjoying the sci-fi element of it. I love, Tani Newton's character. I think she's so cool, the way that she was going round. I was a bit miffed when they kind of suggested that what she's doing is just another sub-arc of programming or some shit like that. I was a bit like, oh, come on, because she was awesome. You know? But I kind of want more. I want it to go crazier. I want them to get out of there. I don't want it to be just in the park still.
Yeah. Well...
I want it to break free of its robotic chains and go full Asimov.
yeah, maybe. I just don't really know. But yeah, I think it's going to get a season 3, as is The Handmaid's Tale, because they will drive this shit into the dirt as much as they can.
I hope. Yeah. Anyway, yeah.
The only thing, the one last thing I wanted to mention, and that is the Sense8 finale I watched, which was all right, and definitely worth watching if you've watched the rest of it. Did you watch all of season 2?
Yeah, I did. I was about to watch it. We haven't watched it yet, but we will do.
Yeah, it's 2.5 hours. So, I watched it Saturday night because I was out Thursday, Friday. So I thought I'll have a night in. And I was going to rent a movie, but then I realised I had that on my list to watch. I watched that, and it was pretty cool. It was the similar sort of mix of sort of like, Scooby-Doo, sort of what do we do sort of thing. Lots of weird pair-ups.
Almost like a mini season finale kind of thing. Like a mini season strapped together into a movie sort of thing. So probably about 2.5 episodes and then a nice little send-off. Yeah, well, yeah. I don't want to spoil how it... Basically, I was like, this seems to be at the end of how most things would end, but no, of course, they have to do that at the end, don't they? And you it's probably not too hard to guess. They want Amazon, that's why. The Wachowskis have not been shying about wanting to take it to Amazon, I think.
Oh, really? Well, yeah, I mean, they could do, but I feel like they definitely gave it the send-off. I don't know if
Amazon's going to give them the money. They're too busy giving the Top Gear guys all their money.
Yeah. But they definitely gave it the send-off it deserved. And I have to say, one of the joys of watching this was that it was all in glorious 4K HDR. Wow. And it just... that opening always looked quite good, all the different country sets and stuff. Yeah. Oh, my God. Like, looking at it on this TV I've got, it's just like fucking... It's sick. I showed it to my dad when he came round the other day, just like the opening credits. Yeah. Just because that alone is like, like that's how to demo a television. Demo, yeah. It really is. And some of the action sequences, all the blood spraying out like everywhere, and you watch it and you're constantly reminded that it's the Wachowskis. Yeah. Even if it does go a little bit naked and stuff at points.
That's what they like. It started with Reloaded, and they've never stopped. The cave rave stroke sex scene, and they've just never given up the whole tribal music video orgy.
Yeah. Moist dildos and flesh, ahoy. On full
they went back there again.
Yes, they definitely did.
Does it beat the episode 1 splat?
It definitely... Let's just, it was a concentrated burst of that show.
Okay.
And I'm not mixing my metaphors.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I've got that to look forward to.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, have fun. You'll have to let me know what you think of it, but it's definitely worth.
I was glad they got at least more to say goodbye, but maybe more, which they're obviously going to do. They always leave the door open.
Absolutely.
A little tangent though, I've not heard anything more about the possible Matrix thing. Maybe it's because they were still trying to, I don't know which studio it was, Warner Brothers, trying to grab the rights of the Wachowskis, and then there were that whole weird thing they were trying to do, like a Matrix without any reference to the Matrix or Neo. It's so weird. I mean,
you know what? Stuff like that is the reason why I can't be asked to cover news on this show anymore.
Yeah.
Because I listen to Slash Film Daily is a podcast that's well worth checking out if you want to know about things like what's going on in Hollywood and rumours and speculation and stuff. But half the stuff they were talking about a Crow film the other day that's like been in development for like 7 years.
Oh, it's James. I think it's James Wan doing it.
It was.
Isn't he still attached?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I have heard what development film he is going to work on. When he's done with. Actually, that leads on. Yeah. He's been tied to a possible Highlander film.
Right.
He wants to do a remake of Arachnophobia.
Oh yeah, that has. I did hear about that. Yeah.
It's still in early stages, but if he gets his hands on that, I don't know if I could watch it. I just don't know.
I'm not a big fan of spiders.
No, I remember the old one when I was a kid, and it didn't help. In
fact, I want to put the lights on now because.
What's that behind you?
Is there one behind me?
I still get freaked out turning on. That's why my lamp is an upwards facing one, because I don't want a downwards lampshade because of that one scene where they turn the lamp on and it jumps down and bites them. And I'm like, no, it's not happening. It's not happening.
Thanks for listening to the Not Watching Podcast, part of the Not Listening Podcast Network, where you can also find the Not Playing Podcast, where we talk about video games, and the Not Listening Podcast, where you can hear Adam and Co talk about all kinds of nonsensical nonsense. You can email us at notwatchingpodcast@gmail.com, or you can tweet at or follow us on Twitter at notwatchingpod. You can find the show notes for all our shows at notlistening.co.uk, and if you like what you've heard here, please do leave us a review. Anyway, that's all for now. Until next time, see ya!
Bye.